Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I accept the Nobel Prize for Peace at a moment when 22 million Negroes of the United States are engaged in a creative battle to end the long night of racial injustice. I accept this award on behalf of a civil rights movement which is moving with determination and a majestic scorn for risk and danger to establish a reign of freedom and a rule of justice. I am mindful that only yesterday in Birmingham, Alabama, our children crying out for brotherhood were answered with fire hoses, snarling dogs, and even death. I am mindful that only yesterday in Philadelphia, Mississippi, young people seeking to secure the right to vote were brutalized and murdered. I am mindful that debilitating and grinding poverty afflicts my people and chains them to the lowest rung of the economic ladder. Therefore, I must ask why this prize is awarded to a movement which is beleaguered and committed to unrelenting struggle, to a movement which has not yet won the very peace and brotherhood which is the essence of the Nobel Prize. After contemplation, I conclude that this award which I receive on behalf of that movement is a profound recognition that nonviolence is the answer to the crucial political and moral questions of our time. The need for man to overcome oppression and violence without resorting to violence and oppression. Civilization and violence are antithetical concepts. Negroes of the United States, following the people of India, have demonstrated that nonviolence is not sterile passivity, but a powerful moral force which makes for social transformation. Sooner or later, all the peoples of the world will have to discover a way to live together in peace and thereby transform this pending cosmic elegy into a creative psalm of brotherhood. If this is to be achieved, man must evolve for all human conflict a method which rejects revenge, aggression, and retaliation. The foundation of such a method is love. The tortuous road which has led from Montgomery, Alabama to Oslo bears witness to this truth. This is a road over which millions of Negroes are traveling to find a new sense of dignity. This same road has opened for all Americans a new era of progress and hope. It has led to a new civil rights bill, and it will, I am convinced, be widened and lengthened into a superhighway of justice as Negro and white men in increasing numbers create alliances to overcome their common problems. I accept this award today with an abiding faith in America and an audacious faith in the future of mankind. I refuse to accept despair as the final response to the ambiguities of history. I refuse to accept the idea that the isness of man's present nature makes him morally incapable of reaching up for the eternal oughtness that forever confronts him. I refuse to accept the idea that man is mere flotsam and jetsam in the river of life, unable to influence the unfolding events which surround him. I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war that the bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality. I refuse to accept the cynical notion that nation after nation must spiral down a militaristic stairway into the hell of nuclear annihilation. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. This is why right temporarily defeated is stronger than evil triumphant. I believe that even amid today's mortar bursts and whining bullets, there is still hope for a brighter tomorrow. I believe that wounded justice, lying prostrate on the blood-flowing streets of our nations, can be lifted from this dust of shame to reign supreme among the children of men. I have the audacity to believe that peoples everywhere can have 3 meals a day for their bodies, education and culture for their minds, and dignity, equality, and freedom for their spirits. I believe that what self-centered men have torn down, men other-centered can build up. I still believe that one day mankind will bow before the altars of God and be crowned triumphant over war and bloodshed and nonviolent redemptive goodwill, proclaim the rule of the land, and the lion and the lamb shall lie down together, and every man shall sit under his own vine and fig tree, and none shall be afraid. I still believe that we shall overcome. This faith can give us courage to face the uncertainties of the future. It will give our tired feet new strength as we continue our forward stride toward the city of freedom. When our days become dreary with low hovering clouds, and our nights become darker than 1,000 midnights, we will know that we are living in the creative turmoil of a genuine civilization struggling to be born. Today I come to Oslo as a trustee, inspired and with renewed dedication to humanity. I accept this prize on behalf of all men who love peace and brotherhood. I say I come as a trustee, but in the depths of my heart I am aware that this prize is much more than an honor to me personally. Every time I take a flight, I am always mindful of the many people who make a successful journey possible, the known pilots and the unknown ground crew. You honor the dedicated pilots of our struggle who have sat at the controls as the freedom movement soared into orbit. You honor once again Chief Lutuli of South Africa, who struggles with and for his people are still met with the most brutal expression of man's inhumanity to man. You honor the ground crew, without whose labor and sacrifice the jet flights to freedom could never have left the earth. Most of these people will never make the headlines, and their names will never appear in Who's Who. Yet when years have rolled past, and when the blazing light of truth is focused on this marvelous age in which we live, men and women will know and children will be taught that we have a finer land, a better people, a more noble civilization, because these humble children of God were willing to suffer for righteousness' sake. I think Alfred Nobel would know what I mean when I say I accept this award in the spirit of a curator of some precious heirloom which he holds in trust for its true owners, all those to whom truth is beauty and beauty truth, and in whose eyes the beauty of genuine brotherhood and peace is more precious than diamonds or silver or gold. Thank you.
Hello, this is We-On-Loc Nation here. Just here to celebrate Martin Luther King's birthday. Have a happy birthday to the Honorable Martin Luther King, who's fought and bled and died for Black folks' civil rights to eat and drink out of the same water fountain, even though it was segregated. We remember those particular times in past, present, and future. To the Honorable, our brother, our uncle, father, our brethren, Martin Luther King. Now, may he rest in power. And on to our next adventure. You're going to find this funny. First and foremost, I would like to say hello to everyone. And the reason why I am live right now is to show you how white supremacy can absolutely slip on a banana peel and bust his own fucking head. Put that open. Jake Long was getting his ass whooped. Jake Long was just getting his ass handed to him. If you don't believe me, watch.
The fuck out of here! You listen here, Peter! Stop, Peter! Stop, Peter! Stop, Peter! Stop, Peter!
We're not gonna take it. No, we're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. And look at this coon in the corner.
Get the fuck out of here!
Look at this coon in the corner. Oh, he getting his little buddy whoop. He getting his buddy whoop. Should have been in town talking shit. Oh, what the fuck is wrong with my light? But yeah, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, that is mainly what happened, and I am so glad that finally. Here's a better version. Here's a better version where you can actually see it up close and personal. Look at that coon in the corner. Hey, hey.
Anchor baby, violent migrants. Look what they do. Let's go, white Americans. Our country's worth standing up.
Wait, are they playing Ice Ice Baby in the back? Stop, collaborate, and listen. Ice is back with a brand new edition. Get it? Damn, that was a good song too. Yeah. Damn, he's saying F off, you effing Nazi. Jeez. Look at him. He's raising a fist. Oh boy. Uh-oh. Give me my stuff. Give me my stuff. You're taking my white power away from me. Yeah, zombies that are whooping his ass. Yeah, hit him with a damn! He hit him with a stick. How long is this shit? What? Was that a super sucker? Hold on we got us a hater here. You are a sick person for condoning this violence. Oh, I'm a sick person for condoning the violence. Well, yeah, I am. I totally am. You're right. You're absolutely positively right. Violence begun violence. Isn't that what you motherfuckers taught me? I'm enjoying it. Let's enjoy it together. This ain't shit. Oh, you Nazi! And you know what's so sad? You know what's so sad? You know what's so sad about this? You know what's wild? He has to find it's so bad that he has to find a black guy who would condone his Nazism. He always seems to find that one. Always seems to find that one who would kowtow and butt dance for his ass. It's amazing to me. Whoop his ass. Whoop his ass. That's it. Whoop his ass. He's trying to calm down the crowd. What are they? Are they trying to talk to him, or what the fuck are they trying to do? No. Let's get to the good stuff. Oh. Pouring water on him. Get him. Woo! Get it. I forgot it was cold outside. That's what you call, ladies and gentlemen, F around and find out. Mainly that whole story was, I don't even, I guess he was in Minnesota. I don't know where he was. But apparently, everywhere he goes, he causes chaos. He was causing chaos in a couple courtrooms, causing chaos in Dallas, Texas. And then all of a sudden, he comes here and he starts shooting that white supremacy shit. And white folks said, we're not going to take it anymore. I'm like, wow. So, proof is in the pudding. I'm violent, but yet when we were peacefully protesting, violence was begun upon us. We were peaceful protesters. We were the ones with the suits and the bow ties and the increased pants, fighting freedom and justice for all, freedom and justice for all, freedom and justice for all. No justice, no peace, no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace. And rocks were being thrown at us. And you again, quoting the Bible, If if you slap one cheek, let him slap the other cheek. I can tell you on the other part of the, I can counteract that with the heaven suffers violence, and violence is begotten by force. I'm just exercising my rights to peace, be still. Get it? Peace, be still. Peace, be. Y'all slow in the chat. Anyway, so that's what that whole thing was about. Um, Jake Lang is trying to be like a Charlie Kirk, I guess, and he's finding out that Charlie Kirk wasn't so Charlie Kirkish back then. But fuck around, find out. Hold on, my kid's yelling at me. Hold on. All right, y'all get the message. And in the news, Donald Trump, yet again, is throwing his little temper tantrums. And apparently, it seems like I don't want to throw anything out there quite just yet, but we might be getting into it. We definitely might be getting into some shit because of his goddamn temper tantrums. Remember when I told you about the Nobel Peace Prize bullshit? Let's see. Did I miss it? Nope. Oh, damn. I got... Hold on. Hold on. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Hold on. Give me just a second. Who has been... Oh, and shouts out to Reese Waters for making a beautiful live stream. Shouts out to Reese Waters. And I'm about to kill these kids in a minute. Making all that racket for nothing. They should be studying. Let's see. How about I just do this? Let's see. What are you talking about?
Donald Trump sends no MLK Day message, breaking a 40-year tradition of MLK proclamations on MLK Day. But Donald Trump did send another proclamation, a proclamation letter to the Prime Minister of Norway, saying that because Trump didn't get a Nobel Peace Prize, that he is now even further desiring to invade Greenland and take it over. No more Mr. Nice Guy. He says, you didn't give me the Nobel.
Hold on. So what I said was true. So what I said was fact. You get into a temper tantrum because you didn't get a Nobel Peace Prize. You're hating on Martin Luther King. You were hating on Obama. And now you're going to go to war because of the simple fact that you didn't get a Nobel Peace Prize? What? Y'all don't, if y'all don't realize it, if you don't realize it now that he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, I don't know what else to tell you. He's got to go. He's got to freaking go. I mean, I'll let them read it to you.
Nobel Peace Prize, so now I don't care about peace. It's one of the most deranged, even by Trump standards, proclamations that people were like, can you validate the source? And yes, the Prime Minister of Norway and the Prime Minister of Sweden indeed confirmed that that was sent and received. Also sent and received, Donald Trump inviting Vladimir Putin from Russia, Lukashenko from Belarus, and other dictators to join what he's referring to as a board of peace. Now, already, most of the European nations have rejected this board of peace scheme by Donald Trump. It's obviously a direct threat to NATO to try to bring NATO down, to create his own alliance with Putin and Belarus, who's going to want to be on a board of peace with them. And as part of a scheme where you give Donald Trump $1 billion, he takes the $1 billion from the countries in order to join this board of peace, and he puts it in a Qatari bank account or an account like that, and then he takes it for himself. That's part of.
I agree to disagree. What we need is a president that would, well, I'm struggling with that one. I am struggling with that one, fam. I am definitely struggling with that one. Maybe Kamala Harris might do some good. Maybe she will. Maybe she won't. Who knows? But it will be better. It will be way better having whoever in there. It will be way better than having this buffoon in office. He has to go. Bottom line is put whoever is next in line in office. I want a name. I want a name. Other than Obama, you could put Obama in there, but I would like a name. Just give me a name. This fool got to go.
Of the plan here. And when we delve deeper into what's going on in Venezuela with Delcy Rodriguez,
give me some time, I'll be back.
Authoritarian leader, former VP in the Maduro regime. You know, Trump is selling some Venezuelan oil to his right-wing buddies, then taking the proceeds and putting it into a Qatari bank account that he controls. That's the height of corruption, as the CIA leaders were there in Venezuela just laughing it up with Delcy Rodriguez. And Trump has a love for authoritarians because Trump is a wannabe authoritarian. With all of this news taking place where you talk about Donald Trump's betrayal as well of the protesters in Iran, Trump said, I got your back, protesters. Go out there. We've got you. If any protester gets killed, the U.S. will go in guns a-blazing. Well, now Donald Trump says, guess what I did? I stopped 800 additional protesters from getting hung by the Ayatollah. I greatly respect the Ayatollah for doing that. That's what you meant, that you would come in guns a-blazing. So we talk about Iran, but we should also talk about nearby in Syria, where Donald Trump has propped up there the authoritarian former ISIS leader, al-Jawlani, who now goes by al-Sharaa. But he's al-Jawlani. I mean, he was the ISIS leader. There's a $25 million bounty on this guy's head. But he's the guy who came into the White House. Right, Donald Trump loved this guy. He sprayed cologne on him, started sniffing him, saying how great looking he was and how good looking he was. It was so utterly bizarre. Well, now what the Syrian forces have done is they've basically slaughtered the Kurdish forces in the north who were fighting alongside the United States against ISIS for all of those years, because ISIS is now the leader of Syria, and they've destroyed and killed our Kurdish allies there. And now you have people like Lindsey Graham saying, oh, you're being naughty there, al-Jawlani. Don't do that. We're going to have to put back on the Caesar sanctions that Donald Trump removed. I want to break that down because this is not getting enough attention. Also, over the weekend, there were massive protests in Greenland and Denmark, the biggest protest, I think, in recent history in Greenland and Denmark, from Nuuk to Copenhagen City. We'll talk about that. Donald Trump is now threatening to send 1,500 United States Army paratroopers who are based in Alaska to further invade Minneapolis and St. Paul, to add to the invasion by the ICE and Border Patrol. Gestapo there. We'll break that down as well. Donald Trump is now launching a campaign to try to have Don Lemon arrested. Don Lemon, reporter covering a protest at a church in St. Paul in Minnesota, where the leader of that church is also an ICE agent, and Lemon was covering it. And now the Trump regime saying he should get arrested. Also, we need to talk about Trump's continued cover-up of the Epstein files. Just because Donald Trump's creating all of this chaos, he wants us to be distracted, so we're not going to be distracted. There was a court filing late Friday by the Trump DOJ, where they're now arguing to a federal judge in the Southern District of New York, Judge Engelmeyer, that no court can ever enforce the Epstein Transparency Act. The Trump DOJ argues that Congress did not evince any intent for there to be enforcement of transparency in the Transparency Act. For those who are watching this on YouTube, we've literally highlighted that language. That's the argument by the Trump DOJ in their letter. Congress did not evince an intent for courts to enforce transparency. I just want you to think about that. We'll cover that and more here on the Midas Touch podcast. Great to see everybody. And it is a day of reflection, Brett and Jordy, on MLK Day.
It is a day of reflection. And, I hope more than just, I know a lot of people out there are going to be quoting Martin Luther King Jr. and especially get all these like Republicans who go against every single thing that he stands for, quoting him, just totally not self-aware whatsoever. But I hope that all of us could commit ourselves to actionable items, things that we could actually do to uphold his values and everything he.
What specifically has Donald Trump done for the country to bring this country back? It sounds like to me you're about to form some white supremacy shit. But I'm a fair man. I'm a fair man and I'm a fair listener. So you tell me. You tell me what President Trump has done for you. I am fair to listen. Lower taxes. He has not lowered taxes. Inflation and prices has not gone down. Try again. Try again. People have this illusion. People have this illusion of inclusion that Trump's main focus. Trump's main focus was to lower taxes. Maybe for the rich, but not for the poor. And I hate bringing this up again. But has anybody gotten their $2,000 stimulus yet? When he took office, inflation rates, you mean still under Joe Biden? because everything is still under Joe Biden. You do know that, right? Lower taxes for the rich. If that's the case, then why lower taxes, but jobs are lost? He's lowered taxes, but I look and small businesses are down, but he's lowered taxes. Make that make sense. Make it make sense to me. That doesn't make any type of sense. But I'm gonna let you have it. Look again. I am a fair man. Whatever you say, people, I believe. I totally believe in that. I totally believe in that. Whatever it is you say, I'm not gonna wish ill will upon what your beliefs are, and I'm just gonna let you lay in your own feces. If you believe that he has lowered taxes, the cost of living is down, the cost of food is down, which it really ain't. Apparently, I mean, for example, me and my family, we went to Chili's, right? Usually, the price of Chili's, the price of what we get, the three for $10, some of that extra stuff that we usually get, it usually don't cost that much. It's like, well. Now it's like we have to pick and choose, you know what I mean? But that's like work. I went to the grocery store. I shouldn't have to pay $12 for a 3-pound of meat. I shouldn't have to pay that much. I shouldn't have to pay that much for some cheese. I shouldn't have to pay that much for some milk. Inflation going down? What's the cost of living like? What's the cost of living like? Who the fuck you think you talking to? I'm still in my mode today. I ain't got that type of time. Come on now. I ain't got that type of time. Like I said, I'm a fair man, but I'm quick on the trigger. All I'm saying is you can believe in the lie. You can believe in multiple lies. Usually, that's what Republicans do. Even though I'm either or, Republican or Democrat. I just don't. I just whatever you say, I believe until something else different comes along. And if somebody tells me different, and I start looking at the numbers, well, argue with them, because that's mainly all I see. Okay, temper tantrum day. Where'd it go? Right here.
Text message to the leader of Norway that I legitimately could not believe was real until its legitimacy was ultimately confirmed. The message, which was first reported by PBS, read, quote, "Dear Jonas, considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace, although it will always be predominant, but can now think about what is good and proper for the United States of America. Denmark cannot protect that land from Russia or China, and why do they have a right of ownership anyway? There are no written documents. It's only that a boat landed there hundreds of years ago, but we had boats landing there also. I have done more for NATO than any other person since its founding, and now NATO should do something for the United States. The world is not secure unless we have total and complete control of Greenland. Thank you, President DJT." Norway's leader confirmed the veracity of that message, saying, quote, This is a message I received yesterday afternoon from President Trump. It came in response to a brief message President Trump sent me earlier in the day on behalf of myself and Finland's President Alexander Stubb. He went on to give his response to the ramblings by Trump, saying, quote, "Our message to Trump, we conveyed our position against his increased tariffs against Norway, Finland, and other selected countries. We pointed to the need to scale the change of order and requested a phone call between Trump and Stubb and me during the day. The response from Trump only came shortly after we sent the message. It was Trump's choice to share the message with other leaders in NATO countries. Norway's position on Greenland is fixed. Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark, and Norway fully supports the Kingdom of Denmark in this matter. We also support that NATO responsibly strengthens the work of security and stability in the Arctic. When it comes to the Nobel Peace Prize, I have repeatedly clearly explained to Trump what is well known, namely that it is an independent Nobel committee and not the Norwegian government which distributes the prize." First off, let me say how utterly humiliating it is to be in a country presided over by a guy who is so self-important, so narcissistic, so megalomaniacal that he would throw a temper tantrum over the fact that he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize, which he decided he was entitled to because he is a spoiled man-child, and use that as justification to blow up the entire post-war alliance responsible for the longest period of peace and prosperity in world history by trying to invade and annex an allied country. Trump's voters thought they were electing some populist champion who would look out for them. Instead, they ushered in King Joffrey. Also, for fuck's sake, no one is entitled to the Nobel Peace Prize. It is an honor to receive it, arguably the greatest honor in the world, but no one should expect it, especially the guy who is right now deploying the US military into American cities, be it in LA or Portland or Chicago or DC or Minneapolis. I mean, hell, Trump quite literally pre-cleared the ICE agent Jonathan Ross after he shot Renee Good, an unarmed mom of 3, and killed her. There won't even be an investigation. And Trump is cool with that. That's the guy who thinks that he's entitled to the Nobel Peace Prize, a prize, by the way, as was mentioned, that comes from a committee and not the government. Give me a fucking break. Now, here's Trump's rationale for all of this.
Are you thinking of giving people in Greenland to get them on board with a possible U.S.
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor.
But here's the thing. There is no angling by Russia or China to take over Greenland. You know why? Because Greenland is owned by Denmark, which is a NATO country, meaning if a foreign adversary like China or Russia invades, they will face the full wrath of the entirety of NATO, which is the whole point of keeping NATO intact and not undermining it by having one NATO country invade another NATO country. In other words, Trump annexing Greenland weakens the very alliance that serves to deter the very thing he claims to want to deter. So the only thing making a Russia or China incursion more likely is Donald Trump himself. He is creating the exact problem that he claims to want to solve. In fact, here's China's response to all of this.
Already clarified our positions on Greenland multiple times. The international law based on the purposes and principles of the UN Charter is the foundation of the existing international order. It must be safeguarded. We urge the US side to stop using the so-called China threat to use as a pretext to gain selfish gains.
Quote, stop using the so-called China threat as a pretext for its own selfish gains. And frankly, that's correct. Again, there is no China threat as it relates to Greenland because Greenland is safe. It is protected by NATO, the same alliance that Donald Trump is undermining right now. The only thing actually creating a so-called China threat is Donald Trump himself. And here's why it's so dangerous to have Trump as president. He can be so easily manipulated and exploited by foreign adversaries. Think about this scenario. What does Russia and China want more than anything in the world? A breakdown of NATO and the grip on power, economic and otherwise, that the Western countries have on the world. All they have to do, without firing a single bullet, is have somebody whisper in Trump's ear, Russia and China are going to take over Greenland, so you better act fast. And then sit back and watch the West go to war with itself, all thanks to Trump blowing up the very thing preventing a Russian or Chinese takeover, all because he's too stupid to think logically. I mean, think about it. If you right now are Russia, you don't have to fire a single bullet. You don't have to be savvy or strategic. You just have to dangle a very basic lie in front of this moron. And he's so impulsive, so stupid, so self-obsessed that he takes the bait every single time. And now, NATO is on the brink of collapse, all while the man-child in the Oval Office thinks he's a tough guy saving the world when he is the exact thing the world needs saving from. Meanwhile, Russia and China are laughing all the way to the bank. They went from having NATO being the strongest it's ever been under Joe Biden, with even Finland and Sweden joining that alliance, to that alliance now being on the brink of collapse thanks to Trump. And Russia didn't have to lift a finger to get their useful idiot to do their bidding. Meanwhile, China is the biggest winner of all, because as we push all of our allies away on a daily basis, guess who fills the void? I mean, hell, just days ago, as the direct result of Trump's ongoing feud with Canada now, guess what they did? They opened up their entire market to Chinese EVs.
China's strengths, for example, in electric vehicles, are formidable. They're undeniable. These are the most affordable and energy efficient and innovative vehicles in the world. And for Canada to build our own competitive EV sector, we need to learn from, partner with, and access and build supply chains with China. To help deliver on the full potential of these partnerships and to bring down costs for Canadians, we're going to start by allowing up to 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles into the Canadian market at the most favored nation tariff rate, which is 6.1%.
That means it gets more difficult for American car manufacturers who produce EVs to compete. And that's just one item in one market in one country. Do you think threatening to invade a European ally is going to go unresponded to by the rest of Europe? The rest of the countries that have spending power, including Canada? Our number one trading partner is the EU. You think they have no financial leverage whatsoever? They do. And do not be surprised if and when they use it. If you were engineering a way for Russia and China to become ascendant and for the United States to lose ground, it would quite literally be no different from this. The reality is that if Donald Trump gets his way, the whole world becomes less safe, including and especially the United States. So I say this from a global perspective, a democratic perspective, small d democratic perspective, and a selfishly American perspective. Europe and our other allies need to step up and stop Trump's efforts. It is existential that he not succeed in blowing up the global world order. Our alliances are the only thing preventing ascendant autocracies from gaining power and ushering in imperialism 2.0. So Europe needs to fight as if its survival depends on it. Trump does not respond to strongly worded letters. You will not move him with appeals to the rule of law. He is lawless. The only way to beat a bully is with strength. The EU is our biggest trading partner. Use the financial tools at your disposal to impose leverage. The American people are already sensitive to high prices, and they register that discontent at the ballot box. They did it once, which ushered this whole aspiring autocrat and his dickless Republican sycophants into office in 2024. And if the economic pain is high enough, they'll do it again, this time ushering them out of office. There is no way to reason with Trump. You can only defeat him. And our allies need to help the majority of Americans who want exactly that outcome. The only way the world remains safe is if Donald Trump and his enablers in the GOP are out of office for good. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.
Oh shit. Sorry about that. Had to go fix the kids something to eat. You know how that go. Okay. Where am I? Hope they got everything together. Yeah. Boy, I'm a father first. What the hell is this?
Name is Rachel Bitchface. So if my mom's Bible study is watching, I apologize for the profanity, but take a look at this clip and then we have to talk.
What do you have to say to the gays in Houston?
I want y'all to know that this isn't a campaign ploy.
No, we won't be looking at that. Some Jasmine Crockett did to, campaign for. We won't be looking.
To further validate my thinking, I have here the words of the President of the United States of America, Donald John Trump. Here are his words when asked if there were any limits on his international power. I know what happened within the country was national. This deals with international power. Give me just a moment, please, of your time so that I might connect these dots. When asked if there were any limits on his international power, here's his response. It's my own morality, my own mind is the only thing that can stop me. Some things bear repeating. My own morality, my own mind is the only thing that can stop me. Mr. President, what about Congress? What about the Constitution? What about the power to declare war?
And Mr. Al Green, you are just wasting words and breath because Donald Trump believes in none of those things. Absolutely nothing. That's why he's going over Congress and the Senate. He's going over their heads simply to do what he has always done, and that's believe in his own morality. Now, whether he's going to get in trouble after November, it remains to be seen. It just remains to be seen. Now, I'm not going to make any more further judgments until I see otherwise. But again, this thing with Greenland and his temper tantrums, that's not good. That is not good. He tried to get the lady from, I think it was Venezuela, to give him her Nobel Peace Prize. And now he is stating that it is war because you, paraphrasing in so many words, you don't respect my gangster. You don't respect my authority. So what is he going to do? He's going to go to war with it. And we're going to end up paying a heavy price if he does. But you'll argue me up and down each and every single day about taxes, about tax on tips, about inflation, about the war on drugs, about the wall that he so-called built, but said he was gonna let the Mexicans pay for it. Like, and the Mexican came up in here talking about, hey, boy, God bless Donald Trump. Okay. Okay. How many do you think is going to be impeached? How many? And be honest with yourself. How many you think Donald Trump is going to be impeached? I think before you impeach him, you impeach everybody else. Pam Bondi, you impeach her. Christy Knowles, you impeach her. What's homeboy's name? The director of the FBI, you impeach him. You impeach everybody who was under Trump's regime.
Troops arriving in Greenland. The Danish military just posting these images that we're showing you of troops arriving in Greenland. Looks like already in darkness tonight. And it comes as our Jim Sciutto is now reporting that President Trump said on a call with the British Prime Minister that he may have been given, quote, bad information on why European troops were sent to Greenland. Now, Jim's reporting is according to a senior British official. The deployments of troops, though, we just showed you those latest images, but they also come from Germany, Sweden, France, Norway, the Netherlands, and Finland. A massive NATO statement, all on the heels of Trump's threats to, quote, have Greenland one way or the other. Trump threatening those countries militarily. They are, of course, all America's strongest allies, and also specifically threatening them in addition to military with hefty tariffs for their military show of force against his taking over Greenland. So if Trump was confused as to their motive or what they were saying, he certainly didn't wait to clarify the confusion. He immediately, had said he was going to impose 10% tariffs on those NATO allies, ramping it up to 25%. Now, based on what may be bad information, or is it a convenient excuse for an off-ramp to a situation that is troubling, terrifying, and spiraling, escalating? Because the text messages between the President of the United States and the Norwegian Prime Minister are unlike anything we've ever seen, frankly, from a president of the United States in any capacity, never mind between him and an ally. The Prime Minister of Norway, Jonas Gahr Støre, texting Trump yesterday afternoon, "Dear Mr. President, dear Donald, on the contact across the Atlantic, on Greenland, Gaza, Ukraine, and your tariff announcement yesterday, you know our position on these issues, but we believe we should all work to take this down and de-escalate. So much is happening around us where we need to stand together. We are proposing a call with you later today, with both of us or separately. Give us a hint of what you prefer. Best, Alex S. Personal attack."
He's not going to give up his position. He wants Greenland, and he wants it on a gold platter. Duh. But like I said, we'll see what happens.
Text, obviously an attempt at de-escalation, a handshaking, trying to move past this. We should all work together. Give us a hint of what you prefer best. Well, a little less than an hour later, Trump responded. And as unfortunately the whole world is now well aware, it was not in kind. It's, "Dear Jonas, considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace." He continues to say, although it will always be predominant, but can now think about what is good and proper for the United States of America. Denmark cannot protect that land from Russia or China. And why do they have a right of ownership anyway? There are no written documents. It's only that a boat landed there hundreds of years ago. But we had boats landing there also. I have done more for NATO than any other person since its founding. And now NATO should do something for the United States. The world is not secure unless we have complete and total control of Greenland. Thank you, President DJT.
Told you. I told you. He believes he can stop. He could have He could have stopped Jesus from certain death. He and he alone believes he could have had pardoned the Red Sea and not Moses. This is how delusional this dude is. But people love sucking them off for some odd, crazy, strange reason. Now they're finna go to war of it. Don't quote me on it just yet. Wait. Just wait. Just wait.
And as you could see there, all of the random capitalizations are as he wrote it. We are now learning that that message was then forwarded by the President's National Security Council. So people went and did this for him to multiple European ambassadors so they could understand this. Official screed from the President of the United States. Officials telling CNN that European diplomats are comparing Trump to Putin. And as for Putin, perhaps he never even dreamed of such an incredible moment. Just look at how Russia's state television is reacting to Trump pushing the NATO alliance to the brink over Greenland. This was uncovered by journalist Julia Davis.
Americans are delivering a catastrophic blow to NATO, because one country that is a member of NATO is taking away the territory that rightfully belongs to a country that is also a member of NATO.
I think this benefits us.
Well, I guess he's stating a fact. Yet Trump does seem intent on getting Greenland. He is now tying that to not winning the Nobel Peace Prize. The entire beginning of that text, right, was because I didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize. And that prize, as bizarre as this is now something we have to keep talking about because Trump has been obsessed with it. In fact, if you go all the way back to when former President Obama won it back in 2009, we can find this trail.
This guy got the Nobel Peace Prize, and every time I look, he's going into another country. He got the Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, think of it. He got the Nobel Peace Prize, but Norman got the Nobel Peace Prize. He said, I have nominated you, or respectfully on behalf of Japan, I am asking them to give you the Nobel Peace Prize. I said, thank you. I'm going to tell you about the Nobel Peace Prize.
All right, Jim Sciutto begins our coverage out front because
Can anybody tell me what's so special about the Nobel Peace Prize? He disrespected Martin Luther King not too long ago. I knew that was coming. I already told you about Obama. I was right about that one. And he's temper tantrum. I should have turned that whole show today that I did from Trump's temper tantrum to Trump needs to wear a diaper. You know how those babies, how they start, getting to bed and they poop all over themselves. Well, Donald Trump's really taking the shitting on himself. All because it's Martin Luther King's birthday. What else more do you want, dude? You took away Black History Month. You cut off the funding of the HBCUs. What more do you fucking want? But we got Trump supporters who love and respect him, who would do anything for him, jump over a grenade, lay down on a grenade for him. That's mainly what that is, and it's quite sickening. It's quite terrible. What I'm trying to relay a specific message to you the only way We-On-Loc Nation can. And remember, I am not a politician. I hate politics. I really do. But the fact that we have to go through this and we find out why we're going through it, it's going to hurt us in the end. It's already hurting us financially, economically, but we're going through this, and we're going through this terribly. And the message is very, very simple. Impeach his orange ass. Pause. Impeach him. Put in another Republican. I don't care. Put in John McCain if he's still. You hear me? Put in John McCain, or else this is going to get a lot worse. Put it. Find Bush. Find somebody. I don't care who you find. I'm not saying don't be a Republican. I don't care who you are. Get him out. Get him out so things can pacely turn to normal. Then we can go back to a regular argument. But this shit is not cool. And you know it isn't. But you're in denial. Most of you are in denial. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm already proving to you that I'm right. Tell me I'm wrong.
Jim, I know you have some brand new reporting here. What are you learning from your sources?
I'm told by a senior UK official that during their phone call on Sunday between Trump and the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, that President Trump conceded to Starmer that he may have been given bad information about that increased deployment of European troops to Greenland. What could that bad information be? Well, the intention of that deployment is to explore security needs for Greenland and perhaps to boost security for Greenland, in part to meet President Trump's demands. Did Trump interpret that deployment as instead a European defense against any U.S. involvement in Greenland? It's hard to know exactly what he misinterpreted there. I will say this, UK officials say that our Danish counterparts briefed the U.S. prior to that European deployment, and not only brief them, because I'm told by a senior Danish official that those deployments were coordinated between Europe and the US through their existing military channels. That said, the UK is seeing that small concession from President Trump to Starmer as at least a potential path to de-escalation. They're looking for hope here, Aaron. But one thing that has not changed, I'm told, by UK officials, Danish officials, and others, is that President Trump has indicated no desire or willingness to move off his demand that the U.S. take Greenland somehow, some way, and that remains a red line for European leaders.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if that's what he's saying and that's what they're saying, then where we are, still bumping up against a wall. All right, Jim, thank you very much with all that new reporting. And Jim has more reporting coming up at 9 p.m. on The Source. Don't miss that with Jim. And a lot to get to with our experts here. Okay, Seth Jones, let me just start with you because I know you've had a lot of conversations with European officials here in these past hours. What are they feeling about this?
Aaron, they're feeling exasperated. I had one senior official who advises a head of state in Europe say that they just cannot understand that the biggest threat from NATO is not coming now from the Russians, although that is serious, but now from the Americans within NATO. That NATO, which has a 1951 pact in place to allow the United States to put space-based assets in, air defense assets in to protect the U.S. homeland. Really the ability to protect U.S. national security assets, U.S. can do that with what is in place right now. So just exasperated that there is such a threat to the alliance right now from the U.S. for what most people do not fully understand, the rationale, the strategic rationale for the president doing this.
Like, share, and hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. I forgot what I was gonna ask, but hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe button. Support the channel. Support. My monetization is down, but my Cash App is still in full effect. If you want to support the channel, if you feel that this is good content, then go to Cash App. It is Dizzy. That is DEZZY 888. I think it's Cash App, I guess. I don't know. But thank you for the support. Support.
Yeah, it's hard to find anyone who does when you lay it out like that. I mean, Dan, you're in Davos right now. Investors, CEOs, world leaders are there. Look, they're hearing Trump say, okay, we're going to put tariffs on our closest allies of 10%. We're going to ramp them up to 25%. And basically, unless the United States takes over Greenland. I mean, are people genuinely worried about this now?
Look, I can tell you, Aaron, I mean, it's definitely caused some white knuckles here at Davos, because the worry in terms of the markets, okay, is this another, now we start going down the tariff route, you know, is the bark going to be worse than the bite, which I ultimately believe it will be, but at a time that we're talking about.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Oh my God. Hold on. No. I was gonna say. I wish I could borrow. Hold on. I seen something about everyone's favorite foot soldiers. Oh, it was this one. Oh, snap. My bad.
A story has to be particularly shocking to stand out in this media environment, and yet this one is. I'm going to put...
Mind you, these are your people who you celebrate and praise.
Photos from Reuters on the screen showing ICE taking an elderly man out of his house, not even allowing him to put on a shirt, into the freezing cold in St. Paul, Minnesota, and he shouldn't have been arrested in the first place.
How much of a fucking asshole can you be?
The post reads, ICE came to my brother-in-law Sally's apartment, broke down the door, trashed the place, handcuffed him, put a gun to his daughter-in-law's head. They did not allow him to put on proper clothing and forced him outside in freezing weather. Sally is a naturalized U.S. citizen. He has no criminal record. ICE drove him around for nearly an hour, questioned him, fingerprinted him. Only after all of that did they realize he had no criminal history and no reason to be detained. They then dropped him off back at his apartment like nothing happened. We believe they...
Look at this. Same thing that happened in Chicago. Same thing that happened in Baltimore. At least let the man put on some clothes.
We're looking for someone who previously lived there, but instead of asking for identification, they chose violence, intimidation, and humiliation. Now, recognizing how bad all of this looked, Tricia McLaughlin, the Assistant Secretary at the Department of Homeland Security, took to Twitter, writing, yesterday in St. Paul, ICE conducted a targeted operation of 2 convicted sex offenders. One of the criminal targets had convictions for sex with a minor and sexual assault. The other target had convictions for sexual assault with penetration in the first degree, domestic
Remember that name.
violence, and violating a protective order. Both also have convictions for failure to register as sex offenders. They both have final orders of removal from an immigration judge. The U.S. citizen lives with these 2 convicted sex offenders at the site of the operation. The individual refused to be fingerprinted or facially ID'd. He matched the description of the targets. As with any law enforcement agency, it is standard protocol to hold all individuals in a house of an operation for safety of the public and law enforcement. Both of these sexual predators remain at large in St. Paul. We'll be providing the public with photos and descriptions to help us locate and apprehend these public safety threats. Which seems compelling if it was true, which of course you'll be shocked to learn it's not. The family released a statement saying, quote, "The family of Chongli Scott Thao categorically disputes the Department of Homeland Security's public statement regarding the ICE operation conducted on January 8th, 2026 in St. Paul, Minnesota. Mr. Thao is a United States citizen with no criminal record. He does not live with, nor has he ever lived with, the individuals DHS claims were targets of this operation. The only people residing at the home are Mr. Thao, his son, his daughter-in-law, and his young grandson. They do not know the individuals DHS references. ICE agents did not present a warrant, did not ask for identification, and nevertheless forcibly entered the home with weapons drawn. Mr. Thao went willingly with ICE despite knowing he had done nothing wrong. During the operation, Mr. Thao was removed from his home wearing only underwear in approximately 12-degree weather in full view of his family and neighbors. He suffers from severe psoriasis, a serious medical condition that is exacerbated by extreme cold and stress. This treatment was unnecessary, degrading, and deeply traumatizing. The family strongly objects to DHS's attempt to publicly justify this conduct with false and misleading claims. These statements have caused additional harm to a family already struggling to recover from a terrifying and unjustified encounter. The family is actively pursuing legal representation and has filed complaints with the ACLU of Minnesota and the Office of Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison. Due to the ongoing legal process, no further comment will be made at this time. We ask the media to report responsibly and refrain from repeating inaccurate statements that place an innocent family at further risk." Let me just say, it would be bad enough that ICE took this older gentleman out into the freezing Minnesota cold, half naked, for no reason. But to then concoct an entire story to justify their mistake goes to show that these people are as depraved as they are dishonest. When government agencies and government officials lie this easily, they are a danger to society. Clearly, as evidenced by the fact that they're going door to door, literally kidnapping people for no reason. And of course, Republicans will clutch their pearls and say that Democrats are being hysterical or alarmist, or that the real problem here is not the fact that we have an American Gestapo trolling the streets, but that such language is too provocative for their delicate ears, as I was told on CNN.
If we had Tim Walz not calling them the Gestapo, that would de-escalate a situation. If they knew they didn't have to go into this marijuana farm right up the road in California and not have people coming after them, and not be on the defensive, if these people would walk out and say, here are our papers, or here not, or I'm going to surrender, I'm here illegally, and are told by Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass and other governors, this would de-escalate the situation.
If you don't want to be called the Gestapo, do not shoot unarmed moms of 3 in their cars. So look, I obviously understand the risks of comparisons to the Holocaust, but I also understand fascism when I see it. And when we start seeing secret rogue police demanding papers, when we start seeing them kidnap people into unmarked vehicles, when we start seeing them serve as judge, jury, and executioner in the streets, when we start seeing them act with impunity and lawlessness, then maybe the Gestapo comparisons are warranted. In fact, don't take it from me, take it from one of the guys who helped elevate Trump's own campaign.
You don't want militarized people in the streets just roaming around, snatching people up, many of which turn out to actually be U.S. citizens that just don't have their papers on them. Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
Even Trump's own administration seems to be leaning into the imagery with moments like this.
Hey, drop that phone! Drop that phone! You're all fucking pretend! Coward chicken shit fucks!
But hey, I'm sure that Greg Bovino's coat looking like this was just a total coincidence.
Oh!
This administration will not stop, and so the onus is on everyone else to get their cameras out and showcase these atrocities to the world and continue turning public opinion against them. The onus is on Congress, left and right, to not give another dime to these lawless secret police. The onus is on everyone in this country to make sure to vote in November.
Yep, you do. You better vote in November. But if you didn't hear my answer earlier, I wish I was. I wish I was. I wish I was. As a matter of fact,
decides enough is enough. Well, that was exactly what happened not long ago in Philadelphia when ICE agents and cops met their match and had no choice to back away from the Black Panthers.
Somebody sent the video of y'all beating up teenagers about to say, y'all. Huh? It was y'all. You part of that. It was y'all. It was y'all. You don't like to be labeling with slave catchers. You shouldn't have taken that whole sellout. You are a sellout. You wearing this. You are a sellout. You ain't protected. You got to do whatever they tell you to, including hurt your people. Because you walking up to me and I don't like you and I don't trust you and I don't got no conversation with you. So unless you're investigating the crime, leave me the f alone. I don't care. I got a gun license right here. This is legal. Philadelphia Crime Code 6108. Move your car out of people's way and get the f out of my face. Thank you, officer. Have a good day.
But let's step back and look at the bigger picture first. Immigration enforcement has ramped up in ways that have left many shaking their heads. Under certain administrations, agencies like ICE have operated with what feels like unchecked power, leading to heartbreaking incidents that grab headlines and stir outrage. Remember the family separations at the border? Or the workplace raids that left kids without parents overnight? These aren't just isolated events. They build on a pattern where policies prioritize fear over fairness. And it's no secret that the Trump era supercharged that has now eventually turned immigration into a political weapon rather than a humane process. And as always, we have always said that such tactics not only fail to solve real issues, but also take away trust in government. And then in the end, makes communities less safe for everyone, just like we are already witnessing. This brings us to Philadelphia, a city with a rich history of activism and resistance. Philly, just like Minnesota, has always been a home to diverse neighborhoods where immigrants and longtime residents alike work hard to build better lives. But lately, ICE has been doing a lot of damage in the area and beyond. Reports of aggressive enforcement have spiked, including tragic cases like the shooting of an unarmed woman in Minneapolis by an ICE agent. And in the wake of such events, local groups have stepped up and organized protests and demanded accountability. So was in this moment that the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense reemerged, not as a relic of the past, but as a group ready to protect the vulnerable. So on this particular day, tensions were already high during anti-ICE protests at City Hall. Demonstrators gathered to voice their anger over ongoing enforcement actions, including that fatal shooting in Minneapolis. Then members of the Black Panther Party showed up dressed in their signature black jackets and berets, openly carrying firearms as allowed by Pennsylvania law. They weren't there to start trouble. Instead, they positioned themselves as protectors, ensuring the protest remained safe from any overreach by authority.
something in the back of my head's saying I should put on that black jacket. I should. No one's starting shit in my city. Not yet. Putting on that black jacket makes me feel protected already. But if I decide to put on that black jacket with the Black Panther insignia on it, hallelujah. But to me, I think we ought to start young and understand and realize of the dangers that lie ahead. And we were willing, it's always black first. Don't get it twisted. We are always a black first people. But we will protect those who can't protect themselves. Fred Hampton did it. I believe we can do it because right now it's getting worse. It is getting hellified worse. And We won't pop off unless they pop off. Yeah, y'all are making me homesick.
However, what soon followed was a tense standoff when police and ICE agents arrived on the scene, perhaps expecting the usual routine of crowd control. But when they saw
Booker T's a sellout. Sorry to inform you.
the armed Panthers standing their ground, something changed. The men from the party knew their rights inside and out. One Panther even referenced Philadelphia crime
Use your imagination. I can't say it on YouTube.
code 6108, explaining he could hold his long arm in hand as long as his finger stayed off the trigger. The exchange soon grew heated, with accusations flying about past incidents where authorities allegedly mistreated people, even teenagers. Yet the Panthers held their ground, refusing to back down or engage beyond words. But here's where it gets really, really interesting. When faced with this organized, legally armed group, the agents didn't push further. Instead, they turned and walked away. No arrests, no escalation, just a retreat that spoke volumes. In fact, the chairman for the Black Panthers Philadelphia chapter, known as Birdsong, later boasted that no ICE agent would dare run up on him or his group.
This agent ever run up on me, I guarantee you they won't. I put a hole in their chest the size of a window. Safe line repair, safe line replace. That's what's gonna happen. They touch me. Unarmed woman was killed by ICE. If you think you're about to come and brutalize the people while we're standing here, around to find out. Our interactions with the police and ICE, and we hold them accountable. We hold them accountable. We patrol the community and we hold them accountable.
However, this moment isn't isolated, and it is really credible because we've seen multiple cases where harmless protesters.
Yikes. No J. Edgar Hoover to say, no, that's wrong. He's wrong. I gotta play that again. It just make, ugh. I just gotta play it one more time.
By ICE. If you think you're about to come and brutalize the people while we're standing here, around to find out. Our interactions with the police and ICE, and we hold them accountable. We hold them accountable. We patrol the community and we hold them accountable.
However, this moment isn't isolated, and it is really credible because we've.
Nobody else is gonna hold them accountable. They are free to do whatever the hell they want to do. Even come inside your home. And if you won't let them inside your home, they will force their way inside your home. They will do that. You believe that you're doing justice by yelling and screaming at them. That's not going to do anything. It's going to force them to even do something even more to you. That's why you have to invoke law. You have to invoke law. You have to know your law, and you have to invoke it. You can't take people's First Amendment rights away. Second, you can't take people's guns away. Now, what he did was safely secure, put it on auto, put it on semi. As a matter of fact, he had it locked, and perfectly his finger was off the trigger. But if shit were to pop off, well, whatever happens at that time happens.
Seen multiple cases where harmless protesters were tear gassed and some even shot with less lethal rounds, as they call them. For instance, the case of Caden Rumler, who was shot in the eyes by the ICE agents. Video footage even captured the tense moments leading up to the shooting. Federal agents in riot,
and we hold them accountable.
They call them. For instance, the case of Caden Rumler, who was shot in the eyes by the ICE agents. Video footage even captured the tense moments leading up to the shooting. Who was shot in the eyes by the
That is bad. He could have lost his eye.
By the ICE agents. Video footage even captured the tense moments leading up to the shooting. Federal agents in riot gear stood guard on the plaza in Santa Ana, California, and were facing off against the protesters. Tensions escalated when officers moved to push demonstrators back down the steps. It was in the chaos that agents began firing crowd control munitions toward the group.
Caden Rumler Shree was holding a megaphone and shouting alongside others, stepped forward after seeing a fellow protester, Caitlin Sky Sights, being grabbed by an officer. That was when an agent fired a projectile that struck Rumler directly in the left eye from just a few feet away. He collapsed to the ground, clutching his face as blood poured out. And despite the severe injury, the video shows an officer dragging him backward by his shirt, pulling him into the federal building amid cries from other protesters to leave him alone. Inside, Rumler said he was handcuffed and face down, his injury evident to all who saw the footage. And now Rumler has completely lost his sight in his left eye where he was shot. Now, the only reason this is happening is because ICE was emboldened to act with little oversight under the Trump administration. While Trump often touted tough immigration stances, many saw them as cruel and ineffective and eventually leading to unnecessary suffering. But in contrast, the Panthers' approach flips the script, putting power back in the hands of the people. This was why Birdsong urges communities, especially those with high immigrant populations, to escort vulnerable folks and stay vigilant. And if we go deeper...
Shouts out to Birdsong. Shouts out to shouts out to the parties and the Black Panther Party in Philadelphia. Shouts out to the Black Panther parties, and some of them are here, but some of them are hidden. Some of them are out in other areas. I can't really say for sure, but they only come out when necessary. This is necessary. This is necessary, so shouts out to them. This is crazy. This is really crazy. I need something. I really need something at this moment in time to really calm my nerves. I need a first like, share, subscribe channel, like, share, subscribe to the channel. I really, at this point, what can I do? I need something to calm me down. Like, seriously, I'm about to actually lose it. I really want to lose it.
Earlier today, there was a small rally led by Hardin's January 6th rider Jake Lang. That relatively small group was drowned out by the counter-protesters. Things got a bit tense. People were throwing water balloons at the right-wing group, and Lang appeared to be bleeding at one point. The counter-protesters have appeared to have dispersed the right-wing group. Police then came. There was a bit of a face-off, and police then retreated. The counter-protesters are now continuing to march through the city.
In America! Today, new rage on the streets of downtown Minneapolis, sparked by protesters in support of the anti-immigration operation.
Not everybody deserves to be here.
Leading the cause, Jake Lang, a January 6th rider convicted and then pardoned by President Trump. Why are you out here today?
Sure. Sure you can. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Of white Americans and Somalians in Minnesota is a tragedy. His supporters today outnumbered by counter-protesters shouting for them to leave the city. Some 3,000 federal officers and ICE agents have been deployed to this state. More than 2,500 people arrested, tensions still red hot after an ICE officer fatally shot Renee Good 10 days ago. Today, protesters said the Arctic blast helped their cause.
We're ready for this. This is just, again, normal winter for us.
This, as a federal judge in Minnesota ordered immigration agents to stop using tear gas and detentions against peaceful protesters. The judge also ruling that agents cannot stop drivers or passengers without reasonable suspicion, and protesters can follow agents. Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino had this reaction today.
We're going to continue to use that minimum amount of force necessary to accomplish our mission.
The Justice Department is now investigating Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, accusing them of impeding federal immigration agents. Walz punching back, posting the only person not being investigated for the shooting of Renee Good is the federal agent who shot her. Ian Lee, CBS News, Minneapolis.
What the hell is this all about? You see the chaos that's going on right now? You see the chaos? You see the chaos? And all this could have been prevented if it wasn't for your goddamn temper tantrums. All of this could have been prevented. But no, you had to just, while is it? Anyway, people love Trump. People love his white supremacist ass. It's Nazi Germany all over again. It really is. I want people to read on it, and even the person I'm about to introduce to you. And people say comedians, right? Certain comedians aren't allowed to talk about certain things, right? They're not allowed to talk about politics. There's one particular person, may he rest in peace. George Carlin always spoke the truth. This is what they're doing. They're expressing Nazi Germany all over the United States. The Colts, the ICE agents, some of the police. Some of these people are people are recruiting. They're recruiting ex-Klan members. And this is under Trump's regime. Remember his first term? They're all fine on both sides. That incident that happened in, I think it was North Carolina, when that lady got hit. And Richard Spencer at the time, I think Richard Spencer at the time was hosting that event. Or he was in the event, he wasn't hosting it. I'm not sure. Terrorize people. That's what their job is. That's what I think, and that's where it's supposed to be. It's gonna be right there. Yeah. ICE agents. Call them Nazis, that's what I call them. Led by a Nazi himself. But do you know that Donald Trump is not a Republican or a Democrat? He used to be a Democrat, but now he's a Republican. He is a capitalist. He doesn't care for Republicans. He doesn't care for Democrats either. He would just like to see you people miserable, but you take the bait. Whatever. Oh yeah. I lost my train of thought. Ay. Well, let's do this. This obviously. Damn, made me miss my train of thought. Let's go to Brew Waters. Maybe he has what I'm looking for. Maybe he has what I am looking for at this moment in time. Oh, did anybody get their Trump phones yet? Anybody get them gold Trump phones? What about them shoes? Anybody get them Trump shoes? Would you spend $400 on some Trump shoes if they still had them? Goodness gracious. He's a joke. He's a fucking joke. He is a joke. Clown shoes. Yeah, I knew.
White American men, come together.
So Jake Lang showed up to a protest here in Minneapolis today, an anti-ICE protest, a massive anti-ICE protest. And all he did was use his freedom of speech, and they attacked him for it, okay? So let's start.
Okay. Since you want it.
In September 1919, a former amateur artist and army veteran named Adolf Hitler joined the ranks of the German Workers' Party, later known as the Nazis. It was a decision that would have a profound impact not only on Germany, but the entire world. The atrocities committed by the Nazis at the height of their power are still.
That's what the ICE agents are. A bunch of Nazis. Nazis.
Staples of every lesson on World War II. But just how did a democracy like Germany fall under the sway of a tyrant in the first place? It all goes back to Germany's loss to the Allies in World War I. German leaders were forced to sign the Treaty of Versailles, agreeing to shrink its armed forces, give up land, and pay large sums of money in reparations, weakening its already unstable economy.
Damn, where's our
Many Germans
reparations?
felt humiliated and betrayed by their leadership, and there was growing fear that their nation would be stuck in poverty and decline. In this climate of bitterness, Hitler rose to prominence. A gifted public speaker, he captured the people's disillusionment with a series of speeches calling for a stronger, unified Germany. He insisted that one group was to blame for the nation's post-war misfortunes.
In other words, tell a lie, tell another lie, tell a lie after that to make it believable.
The Jews. Hitler and his followers attempted a government coup in 1923, but the plan failed. Hitler was jailed for treason for 9 months, but the publicity from the failed coup made him more popular than ever. Then, in 1929, the Great Depression hit, destroying the German economy overnight and leaving millions unemployed. Hitler saw the ensuing chaos as his opportunity to seize power. He loudly criticized the ruling government and promised to return Germany to greatness.
Do you realize that I don't give a shit? Both parties do this. I'm not both parties. I do not condone or this is the key one right here, or vote upon Black people's destruction. That's just not me. That's just not me. That's not what I do. the laws are made specifically not for us per se, but for their well-being. We just happen to be in the mix, because of World War One, World War II. If you've seen Glory, our ancestors fought those wars, but we were on the front lines. There was a point in time where we couldn't even have guns, and if you pointed a knife or a gun at an officer, you were hung. If you would talk back to an officer, you were hung or whipped, whichever one came first. This shit doesn't prove anything but the same that they're doing. Let me be quiet.
Long-suffering Germans believed they had finally found their savior. In Germany's 1932 elections, the Nazis won a majority of seats in parliament, and Hitler ran for president. Though he lost, his soaring popularity inspired President Paul von Hindenburg to appoint him chancellor, the head of the German government. As chancellor, Hitler wasted no time tightening his grip on every aspect of German life. He tripled the size of the military, violating the Treaty of Versailles. Under Hitler's orders, rival parties were banned, while paramilitary groups cracked down on protests and executed political opponents. Anti-Semitic.
I think that's
of a better Germany. After the death of President von Hindenburg in 1934, Hitler declared himself Führer, an absolute dictator.
Like Trump? This doesn't prove anything to me. I would have read this shit back in grade school. What the fuck is wrong with you people? I read this bullshit back in grade school. Just even to, let me see.
Constitution. We have lead as the former governor of Minnesota. I'm so proud to have a party, the Republicans, who don't seem to want to abide by the Constitution. January 6th is a prime example of that. And now they're all free and they're in charge. You know what? Maybe it's time for Jesse. I only did one term. I'm owed a second.
Mr. Ventura, can you tell us, remind us, you went to school here?
I went to school here. I'm a 1969 graduate of Minneapolis Roosevelt. I'm proud of them for what they did. They made me proud as an alumni. Go Teddies.
What are your thoughts? I know we're jumping in, probably doubling up on some of his questions, but what are some of your thoughts about what unfolded yesterday? And then after that, what you saw?
Well, I've told you already. We're a country of the Constitution. We have leadership now that has destroyed the Constitution. They don't follow it. They could care less about it. Am I right or wrong? I took an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I view after January 6th, the Republican Party is a domestic enemy to our Constitution. I can't get any bolder than that, can I?
And you obviously saw the video that the students shot outside here, and that obviously elicited a lot of emotions for you. Just watching that.
The student shot.
There were some students who shot the video of the chaos here yesterday.
No, I didn't even see it.
Oh, you didn't see it? Okay, I thought you did.
See it.
Okay.
The only thing I've seen is the murder.
So talk about, you were a student here. When did you graduate?
1969.
Have you been back here? Talk about that. Is this like first time back?
No. Came back to homecoming 2 years ago. No. I'm a proud graduate. I held 3 school records in playoffs. We played 6 and defeated, if you remember that, the old unit championship game. We beat Dave Winfield as a graduate of Roosevelt, and tell them how proud I was of what they did of keeping ICE off of this campus. This is a place of learning, and you learn things like the Constitution. You learn about warrants. You learn about things of that nature. And what we're getting right now is violating all that, what kids are being taught. You want to know something? I'll give you a quote. We're a third world country now.
Boom!
You want to know why? I'm an expert. I've been to them. I spent 17 months in Southeast Asia playing golf, right? You know how I know we're a third world country? Because in third world countries, they have the military doing their police work in the cities when you walk around. I was in the Philippines the day Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law and went under dictatorship. We went from nobody to a guy with a machine gun on every corner. That's what happens in a dictatorship. In comes the military. That's what's happening here. And people better wake up to it. You want to read something? Then read your history of Germany and start comparing the tactics of what happened in 1930s Germany to what's happening here.
Sir, were you trying to say to compare 1930, which 1930's comparison to what's happening right now is right on point? So I have to recommend you, and I have to say, not recommend you, and I have to say, you were right. You are absolutely correct. The only thing is, we knew about it already. We already knew that this was Nazi Germany because of all the laws that have been broken. Each and every single one of them. The First Amendment, the Second, I'm talking about the Constitution. First Amendment, Second Amendment, First Amendment, Second Amendment, 13th, 14th, 15th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd Amendment. If we can go for the 25th Amendment, it'd have been great. That means if I get rid of Donald Trump, I get rid of J.D. Vance as well. Shoot, let's knock it all out. Let's knock them all out. And if you want, you can go to my latest video saying that all of them got to go. All must go. That's the name. That's the title to one of my latest videos. All must go. Check that shit out. Check that shit out. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, didn't mean to bore you to death with such lovely information. But this is We-On-Loc Nation. Go ahead and support the channel. We-On-Loc Nation. Support the channel. Like, share, and subscribe. And be careful. If you're in the Minnesota area, if you're in the LA area, if you're in the New York, Baltimore, Detroit, Portland, Minnesota, if you're anywhere in the Washington, if you're anywhere in them areas, be careful. Know your shit. Know your laws. Mind your own affairs. And be well. That's all I have to say.